to recognize the first class of inductees into the Lebanon High School Sports Hall of Fame. Plaques will be presented by the Board of Directors. A permanent plaque with all of the names will be on a display in the lobby until it is moved to the new school. Thank the Lord. Please welcome the Board of Directors. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I'd like to introduce our 13 inductees. Our first inductee, Miss Estelle Pritchard Jewell, from the class of 1935, scored 283 points in the 1934-1935 season, with 33 points in a district tournament game. That record held for more than 25 years. Her scoring average was 15.9 per game. Miss Estelle Pritchard Jewell. Ladies and gentlemen, our second inductee, Miss Rita Rochelle Carmichael, class of 1967, scored 3,141 career points. She was a top in Devilet history and was named Mid-States MVP in 1966 and 1967 by the Nashville Banner. Rita was named All-State Tournament in 1966 and held the single-game state tournament scoring record for some 22 years. She went on to help establish the women's basketball program at Lambuth University in Jackson and was inducted to the Lambuth Sports Hall of Fame in 2003. Earlier this year in Louisville, her 3-on-3 team won the Senior Olympic National Tournament. Miss Rita Rochelle Carmichael. Our next inductee, Louise Maynard Donnell, class of 1950. Miss Donnell was on the 1950 team that won the district tournament and was the runner-up in the regional tournament. Miss Louise Donnell was selected to be on the all-district team and the all-region team. Miss Louise Maynard Donnell. We'd like to also honor the late Hoyle F. Johnson. Mr. Johnson coached the Lebanon High football team without pay between the years of 1942 to 1947. He coached the 1945 team to an undefeated and untied record of 10-0, outscoring their opponents 369 to 31. Accepting on behalf of the Johnson family is Mr. Buster Jennings, the late Hoyle F. Johnson. Our next inductee is also the late Joe G. Atkinson, class of 1937. Atkinson, student body president and captain of the Blue Devil football team, started guard for Vanderbilt University, and was team captain on the 1941 team that went 8-2. Coach Atkinson coached Lebanon High School football to a record of 27-3-1 in 1950, 52, and 52, where the team was led by Clifton Truble, Don Franklin, Robert Dedmon. He captained the PT boats in World War II and was general manager of Robert Shaw Lux Time. Coach Atkinson was a member of the Castle Heights Military Sports Hall of Fame and in 2001 received the Lifetime Achievement Award from the Wilson County Sports Council. Accepting on behalf of the Atkinson family is Terry Jean Harris.
David Robertson, wherever he is. accepting is his son, Gil.
Our next inductee is Lowe Harold Stevenson, excuse me, class of 1969. Mr. Stevenson broke the color barrier at LHS when he enrolled as a freshman in 1965. He lettered in basketball and football. As a senior, was all mid-state selection as a defensive end. He went on to become the first African American to sign an athletic scholarship at Middle Tennessee State University, where he starred as a defensive lineman for the Blue Raiders. Mr. Lowe Harold Stevenson. Our next inductee is Mr. Jeff Lester, class of 1984. Mr. Lester was the 1984 TSSAA state wrestling champion at 103 pounds, going 34 for 1-1. Posted a record of 78, 14-1 in the 3-year varsity career, including 13 individual tournament championships. He coached Lebanon High School wrestling for 4 years and has been head wrestling coach at Tullahoma for the past 12 years, where he has coached 4 state champions. Mr. Jeff Lester. Our next inductee is Mr. Don Franklin, class of 1954. Mr. Franklin started in the offensive line for the Lebanon and signed with the University of Georgia. Finished his football career at Middle Tennessee State University, where he was an all-conference performer. Mr. Franklin coached at Castle Heights Military Academy and Watertown High School before retirement. He was elected to Lebanon City Council, Wilson County School Board, and is a Wilson County Commissioner. Mr. Don Franklin. Our next inductee is Mr. Clifton Truble, class of 1954. Mr. Truble was a 3-time All-Mid-State and All-State First Team 1953 top scorer in state, 163 points in 1953. Led the state in rushing 1,968 yards in 1953 and scored 406 points in his prep career. He was recruited by Paul Bear Bryant at Kentucky, played 56 through 58. He coached at Lebanon High School from 1960 to 1968 with 6 postseason bowl games and was a 2-time Mid-State Coach of the Year. His jersey, number 76, was retired in 1990. Mr. Clifton Truble. Our next inductee is Mr. Brent Foster. Mr. Foster coached baseball at Lebanon High School and had a record of 247 games to 45 at Lebanon High School between the years of 1964 and 1975. He was a 5-time district champion, served 2 terms as superintendent of the Wilson County School Board. Mr. Brent Foster. Our next inductee is Mr. Robert Dedmon, class of 1954. Mr. Dedmon was a varsity football player for 4 years, varsity basketball for 3 years, all-district basketball team 1952 and 53, all-district tournament team 1951, 52, and 53. He was the first Lebanon High School player to be selected to the Associated Press basketball all-state team in 1952. He played on LHS football team that held the honor of the longest unbeaten streak in Tennessee with 27 consecutive games. He was elected in 1998 and currently serves as the Wilson County Mayor. Mr. Robert Dedmon. Our next inductee is the late David Robinson, class of 1954. Mr. Robinson was a record-setting quarterback for the Blue Devils who signed with Georgia Tech. He went on to become a TSSAA football official and worked for many years as an engineer with Rogers Construction. Accepting for Mr. Robinson is his son, Gil Robinson. And ladies and gentlemen, the last inductee of the evening is Mr. Louis Thompson, class of 1963. Mr. Thompson was all mid-state for the Blue Devils as a senior, signed with Alabama where he played for Paul Bear Bryant and was part of 2 national championships teams. He was drafted by the NFL. Thompson went on to enjoy outstanding career coaching at the high school level, including the 1978 season at Lebanon High. He led Lincoln County to state titles in 1990 and 93 and was selected to the TSSAA Hall of Fame in 2005. Mr. Louis Thompson. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask that you give all our inductees a round of applause. It's an honor to be here tonight and see you be inducted into the first class of Lebanon High Hall of Fame.